Jim has the program from our charter meeting. Jim has almost all the programs from all the meetings since the first organizational meeting in December 1945. Wow. Jim has stories he's heard or remembers to tax your patience. Tonight, Jim will talk about 3 elements of Pioneer's history that demonstrate how flexible we have been. Please welcome Jim Vogele, Adjusting.
When I joined Pioneer Toastmasters, the standard was business suits. Now, this worked okay when I was in high school because St. X required its students to wear coat and tie. But once I got to college and law school, I had to go home and get dressed up to come to a Pioneer Toastmaster meeting. Over the years, we've adjusted to business casual. And we went past business casual all the way to grungy sometimes. And then COVID hit. And a couple weeks ago, we got a message from our district club growth director that when you attend a COVID Toastmaster meeting, you should wear pants. For those of you at home, okay. When I joined Toastmasters, there was only one manual, the basic training manual. When you finished it, you had 2 choices. You could repeat it, or you could give BBT speeches. That's for Beyond Basic Training. A sad note that I have to throw in at this point. I am told that people who finished their basic training manual got a congratulatory letter from Ralph Smedley suggesting that it was not time to quit Toastmasters, that they could repeat the manual or do BBT. I was on my 8th speech when Dr. Smedley died. I never got that letter. I've adjusted. Over the years, we've had as many as 15 advanced manuals, but even when we had advanced manuals, we had people giving non-manual speeches. And now we have pathways. And pathways so confuses some members that they are giving what they refer to as rogue speeches. Because her dog ate the manual. Now, when a dog eats, I don't know what happened, but that's beside the point. The point here is we have adjusted. We're adjusting. Now, the biggest adjustment this club has made over the years is in its meeting places. Now, I'm not going to give them to you in chronological order. I think this is a rational way to describe how we met. When I joined, we had a dinner meeting. My first Toastmaster meeting, the dinner was $2.35. That included the tip. We had members complaining about the price of the meal. Some people don't adjust well to some things. Anyway, we have met at 15 places over the years. Don't count. I'm going to name them all. One of them was the Colonial Cottage. Colonial Cottage had a beautiful meeting room and lovely meals, but their problem was they closed. And when they say closed, they mean they were locking the door at 8:30. We were doing 4 and 5 speeches a meeting, and we're scheduled to close at 8:45. It was not compatible. We had to leave. We left there and went to a place called the 5 Seasons. For reasons of their own, they quit having meeting places. So we had to adjust again. Kathy Papp found us the Holiday Inn Riverfront. Beautiful meeting room, lovely meals, and we could go back there immediately. They would welcome us with open arms, but the basic meal choice is down to $30. And nobody's too happy about that. I haven't done the math on inflation, But anyway, nobody's too happy about that, so we don't meet there anymore. And in 2017, we quit being a dinner meeting. We moved to the Kenton County Library in Covington. They didn't want to schedule us. So we could show up and there might be a meeting room and there might not be a meeting room. We had to adjust to that. We moved to the Gateway Technical and Community College. The Gateway Technical and Community College problem was they had an echo that would go on till Thursday morning. The good news is we got an excellent member out of it who isn't here tonight because he's got a power problem. Over the years, we've met at a number of interesting places. We moved to the Kenton County Administrative Building. We got thrown out of there by COVID, and then they changed their policy. We can't go back there. Interesting notes over the years. We met at a place before my time called the Golden Goose. It burned down. It's now an office building. We met at a place called the Lookout House. It burned down. It's now an office complex. The first meeting I ever attended was at Olsner's Colonial Cottage.
It burned down.
It burned down. Gas station. Personal parenthetical, I have to note that it was at Olsner's sometime after July of 1968 that I was introduced to stingers.
Hey-o.
Baseball, sandy, and stingers. Well, that's where things rank. Anyway. Then we met at Robertson's. I remember Robertson's. It burned down. It's now a bank. We met at a place before my time called the White Horse. It burned down. It's now part of a Kroger parking lot.
Oh my gosh.
Then we met at a place called the Gladiator. Now, the Gladiator was a lovely restaurant. It was a nice place, folks. I swear it was a nice place.
It was.
It was right next to a travel lodge. And it is now a Rotary off the Taylor Southgate Bridge and 3rd Street in Newport. But that's not why we left. Reason we left is that after about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, the Gladiator changed its clientele. It went from a family restaurant, Toastmaster meeting place, to where the hookers and strippers from Newport who were staying at Travel Lodge spent the rest of the night. One day, a couple of gentlemen got into an argument over the affections of one of these young ladies. It ended up in a double homicide out in the parking lot. They shot at each other. They both died. And the next day, I started getting calls. My wife says we gotta move. My wife says we gotta move. After about the 5th call, I said, that's funny. My mother hasn't said a word about it. But that's why we left there. It had nothing to do with the off-ramp from the bridge. We moved from there to the Holiday Inn South in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. When we moved in, we told the lady in charge of reservations about our checkered history. And she said, well, Holiday Inn's an international corporation. We're going to be able to survive even that history. Now, we had one really interesting thing happen while we were meeting there, and that is Toastmasters changed its policy to admit women as members. Nick Colhead, the founder of this club and the original Mandarin, and I polled the membership. Everyone was in favor of women joining. It required a 2/3 majority vote, however, and the first time we put it to a vote, it lost straight up. It didn't get a majority, much less the 2/3. We tried again. It lost straight up. Now we decided we got to figure out why something nobody's opposed to keeps losing. And we found out the reason was there were 2 wives of the members that people were afraid would join if we had. So Jim, lawyer by then, wrote the bylaw for Pioneer Toastmasters, admitting women, providing no spouse of a current member could join. It passed without objection. This is also the reason that for her birthday, before we got married, I gave Sandy a membership in Pioneer. So she was not a spouse of a current member. Now, the funny thing about that particular location is the place sold to some clown in Louisville. He came in, told us we were not welcome there anymore, and essentially said, don't come back. After we left, the place became a public nuisance. It was closed by court action and is now a car dealership. It didn't burn down. We're now meeting in the Campbell County Library, where we've been made to feel most welcome, and I look forward to this being another long, involved relationship. We have adjusted over the years. We are adjusting as we speak. Pioneer Toastmasters is nothing if not flexible. But the one thing we haven't changed, what you heard earlier, put together a program for the members. We will be here for the members. We're not going to adjust that. The reason I have built this as the world's most nearly perfect Toastmaster club, and the most in there is very important, because I don't claim we're even nearly perfect, just closer than anybody else, is because we put forth that program. We encourage each other, and I'm going to go this far. I think there's a lot of love in this club. We will not be adjusting that, Mr. Toastmaster.